Well, this new moon in September is going to be very exciting. Come and join me to find out what we need to know. Hello all, Stacey the Black Feather Intuitive. Welcome to New Moon Musings for our new moon on September 14th. If you've been with me for these new moon journeys before, go ahead to the timestamps in the description below and click on the soul card to get yourself started. For those of you who are new, keep watching so that you can learn how you can best make this reading work for you throughout the new moon cycle. See you on the flip side. So here's how the new moon musings reading works. In the new moon, we have different cycles and phases of the moon. We have the new moon, the waxing crescent, the first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter or third quarter, and the waning crescent. The first part of the new moon cycle is the waxing cycle. So we have waxing gibbous, waxing crescent. What does waxing mean? Waxing is the energy of at the new moon, we are deciding what we want to work on. And the waxing is putting the action into what we're trying to create, what we're trying to achieve, a project that we're trying to complete. And then the waning part of it comes after the full moon. So you have new moon to full moon, that is the waxing. And then the waning is the full moon to the next new moon. And it doesn't mean that there's no action involved in the waning. It just means you're more reflective about what's going on. You're paying more attention to what action was put in and is it working for us, and do we need to tweak the process as we are working to connect the dots and find the completion to that particular cycle. Each of these phases of the moon represents a different energy that each of us is experiencing in the collective as well as individually. So what you can do is watch the entire reading once all the way through to get the overarching energies for this particular new moon cycle. And then throughout the phases of each moon, you can come back and review each of those phases. Now, it's not an exact science. I read it as though we have basically three days, 2.5 to 4 days. So take the average in the middle, 3 days in each phase. But the moon is a bit temperamental. And so sometimes you can be in one phase and lasting a little longer in that phase. And maybe the next phase will be a little bit shorter. And, for your neighbor, it might be the exact opposite. So it's important for you to really tune in and recognize where you're at energetically when you're tapping into these. So check out the timestamps below when you're watching this reading, anytime after you've taken in the full message and the full energy. And this is a big one because it is the new harvest moon. And why is it big? It's big because the level of light that comes from this particular moon in our, in our world allows us to be able to harvest all of the fruits of our labor. And this was known and called as the new harvest moon because it helped farmers. The light was so bright and there was so much of it that it helped farmers to be able to work into the night in order to be able to harvest the abundance that had grown throughout the season. And what does this mean for us? It means for us in some really big ways that we are being shown the light. We are being given aid to be able to see the truth, to be able to see our paths, and to be able to take advantage of all that is waiting for us. I can't wait to dive into this one. So today we are using the Crystal Visions Tarot deck. Who is it by? Jennifer Galazzo. And as normal, I'm going to do sort of the 4 points and going to pull an affirmation card for all of these cards for our new moon spread. So let's see what we got going on. And I'm going to pull the new moon card at first. And the new moon card here is the Tower. Now, when we're talking about the Tower, most of the time, there's a little bit of, I want to say, trepidation that comes up. People see the Tower and go, oh no, something horrible is going to happen. And, when we look at it, there are people that are falling out of the Tower. There's a lightning strike that's hitting. But here's the thing about the Tower. Sometimes something that is old, sometimes something that is run down, that has run its course, we get attached. We have a hard time letting things go. And as a collective, the Soul card is here to say, all right, there's something big that's coming up, but it's happening for you. You might be afraid. You might say, I'm not ready for this to go out of my life, or I'm not ready, or what are we going to do? This is going to cause, major disruption, major upheaval. It's going to be destructive. Here's the thing. It's destructive because we're probably hanging on to something that is holding us back, keeping us moving in or seeing the vision of where we need to go and grow. So I feel like this month, we're really getting the Tower because it's giving us an opportunity to shift our perspective, to be able to clear a path so that we can see something that we need to see in order to be able to move forward into our truest evolution. This particular card, there are a lot of birds. The birds have been activated, and this Tower is sort of in the middle of the ocean. So we've got the element of air as well as the element of water, and then the element of fire popping up in here as well. Not so much earth, although we could say that the Tower itself is stone. So all four elements, earth elements, are represented. What does that mean here? It's going to affect all aspects and areas of the collective, of our head, heart, spirit, and soul. And it's happening, I feel like we're being told this right now because it's important to not lose your head about it. It's important to stay grounded, to understand that, your emotions are going to be stirred up. There's something big that's coming up, and people are not going to be necessarily happy about it. And yet the question becomes, what can you do about it? A lot of times in society, we hear something and we get all worked up, but we don't actually take action. Or sometimes we just don't know. We're paralyzed and we don't know what action to take. I feel like this I almost said soul cycle, this moon cycle, the new moon cycle, is giving us the opportunity to be able to look at it from a different perspective and to say, the change is coming. That's inevitable. So what do I want to do? What part do I want to play in all of this? And if a lot of other people in the collective are going to be kind of willy-nilly with a lot of the emotion and ungrounded and being in the realm of fear, speaking a lot of fear, I'm going to choose to do the opposite. And not necessarily be the voice of reason, but be the voice of truth, be the voice of intuition, and be that space where people recognize you and say, you're responding to this situation rather than reacting. I feel more comfortable connecting with someone who is responsive, someone who is focusing on the solution, not the problem. So be the solution, not the problem this month in this particular moon cycle. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so our new moon card is happening. The new moon is happening on September 14th. It's happening at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is a Virgo new moon. So let's talk about Virgo. And happy birthday, Virgos. Virgo is very much a sign of service. Virgo is all about service to the collective, making sure that people have their needs met, being a bit logical and organized about it, putting structure. I want to say bringing order to chaos. For those Star Trek fans, Virgos are this is a bad analogy, but the Virgos are the Borg in many ways, just not the bad version of the Borg, the good version of the Borg. I'm a Virgo, so I'm allowed to say that. So it's bringing order to chaos and understanding what that actually means for, I want to say, for the collective as a whole. And then individually, when we're talking about that, it's also where in my life do I need to kind of review and evaluate? I'm starting this new cycle. What is it that is a bit chaotic in my life right now? The world is a bit chaotic. We started the reading off with a bang. We started off with the Tower. So if we've got the Tower going on, what can I clear out in my life and in my space? What do I need to organize or, sort of get my ducks in a row so that I can be a little more connected to what the collective needs, and to be able to step up and be I want to say, sort of a productive member of society, or be that individual who is more responsive rather than reactive. It's interesting. There's a lot of anxiety out in the world. So many people, suffer anxiety, and there are a million different reasons why. But one of the easy ways to help somebody who's going through a bit of an anxious state is making sure that their home environment or their work environment or whatever environment they're in that is causing some of the anxiety, or where they feel the most anxiety, it's putting some order to it. So if you're sitting at a desk and it's scattered and you got pages everywhere and you don't know where everything is, and you got pencils, where paper is supposed to be, and you've got paper where, your feet go, and, there's just no sense of calm or sense of peace. So there's an element of minimalist, looking at your life right now and saying, where can I minimize? Where can I bring a little bit of structure and order to the system, or to my life, or to my process right now, so that I am eliminating, or at the very least lessening, the factors of anxiety. You might still feel the anxiety on the inside, but if your outside environment supports calm and peace, order and structure to your degree, that's going to be a huge support for you. So I feel like we all want to take stock of where we're at in our lives, and what areas of our life we can tweak, we can bring a little bit of order to, and what can we toss out? What is no longer really serving us as we're moving forward? So that's a really big one. Okay, so 7 of Pentacles. I realized I just talked a whole lot about the new moon without actually looking at the card. So 7 of Pentacles. I got to tell you, I love that this card is coming up, because I was talking about the harvest moon, and the harvest moon being, the greatest source of light, so that the abundance can be harvested well into the night. 7 of Pentacles is reaping rewards. So it is the opportunity to take advantage, harvest all the seeds that you planted, all of the beautiful plants that came about, all of the fruit, all of the vegetables. Again, it's about the harvest. So 7 of Pentacles could not be a more perfect card for us to pull for this particular position. And when we're talking about this, the 14th of September on through to about the 18th of September, it really is going to be a time for all of us to pay attention to what we have to be grateful for. And, I'm going to be honest, this has been a really challenging time for everyone. I don't know a single person, I have not encountered a single person in the last 3 months, probably longer, but the last 3 months, that has not been in the throes of something really difficult on a personal level. It's, where I want to say a few years ago, pre-COVID, you would have some people who were riding the wave high, and some people who were riding the wave low, and some people were on their way up and on their way down. And it didn't feel collectively like everybody was in the sauce. This is a time where everybody's in the sauce. And it's not to minimize anybody's experiences, because you're feeling what you're feeling, and you're going through what you're going through, and it's rough and it's difficult and it's challenging to find, find resource or to find help or assistance from time to time, because you don't want to burden somebody else with your burdens when you know that they're burdened too. The 7 of Pentacles is inviting all of us during this new moon period of time, and this is very potent for, I see it as manifesting. What do I want to manifest for this new moon cycle, for this next month for myself? It's a really potent time for all of us to be able to say, okay, I'm in the sauce and everyone else is in the sauce. How can my uncomfortable sauce help someone else's uncomfortable sauce? How can we support one another? How can we lift each other up? How can we be grateful for the abundance of what we do have? And I'm hearing like, it's kind of like the trade and barter. I may have had an amazing year from that, from that farmer perspective. I may have had an amazing year and have like an amazing crop of pumpkins this year. And last year, my crop of pumpkins didn't do so well, but I've got so many pumpkins in abundance now. And my neighbor next door, they really could use pumpkins because they did not have an amazing experience with it. They got bugs or something horrible happened, or their seed didn't come in properly, or it got rotted. And so your abundance becomes their abundance because you're like, listen, I got you covered. But their crop of tomatoes was phenomenal and you didn't do so well with your tomatoes and you really are needing some tomatoes. So it's kind of that energy of understanding we're all struggling with one thing or another. Rather than getting focused, it's not about spiritual bypassing. It's not about burying your head in the sand and putting your needs to the side. It's more about saying, I've been going through the struggle too, and let's support each other. Let's use this abundance of harvest in a number of different ways, or this focus on gratitude to be able to lift each other up. And that feels really big and really important. I'm also hearing on a sort of a collective level with work that there's going to be some light at the end of the tunnel. I feel that there's going to be a little bit of peace and ease that comes through in these 4 days. It feels like a bit of a reprieve. And I don't want to say it's a calm before the storm because I don't believe that. But I will say it's an opportunity to recharge. Especially when you're doing the work to reap the rewards of the abundance that you've been working up, that you've been planting and nurturing and all of those things. You also need some rest when you're doing it because along with the work of gaining the harvest, you're expending a lot of energy. So it may be joyful energy that you're expending, but it's energy nonetheless. So during this time, I feel like there also needs to be a little bit of balance, sort of that work and that work and that play, or understanding, okay, I got to put my nose to the grindstone with a lot of different things here, but I also can take breaks and rest and recharge and regroup because I can relax a little bit, knowing that the harvest is in. I've got what I need. And if I don't have what I need directly, my neighbor's got it. My friends got it. My family's got it. Somebody's got it. And I can always work a trade. So focus on the things that you definitely have to be grateful for, that you're like, I can see that this is a big thing in my life, and understand that there's probably someone out there that doesn't have that thing. And yes, you could focus on all the things that you don't have, but that's going to keep you in a lower vibration. Focus on the things that you do have and look for ways to be able to support someone who may not be strong in that, but they're strong in something else. So I feel like that's really important. The affirmation that we have, I accept renewal and delight in fresh starts. Oh my God, and it's a new moon. That doesn't happen very often when I pull these. This is great. So I accept renewal and delight in fresh starts. It's important for us at this time between the 14th and the 18th to focus on the fact that, all right, it might not be all sunshine and daisies, wine and roses. I might be feeling a bit like, okay, we've been at this a while. When is it going to sort of break? Like, when are we going to find that ease and flow on a more consistent basis? The way we're going to find that is accepting that it is the dawn of a new day. And whenever we're beginning something new, there are always little bumps in the road because there's no manual for what we're doing, especially from a collective vantage point right now. We're in new territory. We've never been where we're at before. So it's understanding I'm going to just fully accept that it is what it is. And this is part of a new start, but along with a new start comes a beautiful new adventure. And I want to focus on that adventure, and I want to co-create the highest and best for myself while I'm in that adventure. All right, our waxing crescent is September 19th to about the 21st. And, oh, beautiful. We got a 3 of Wands. Love this. I'm going to show it to you in a second. I just want to take a look at it and see what I'm picking up on here. So the 3 of Wands here, there are wands, but there are also these beautiful crystal balls that are being utilized, and she's using one of the crystal balls as a conduit to be able to put her focus out into the world. So 3 of Wands typically is a card of expansion. It recognizes, okay, I've chosen this new journey, I've chosen this new path, I'm fully creating it, I'm fully into the mix of it, and I'm looking out over, the vast territory that I am at the beginning of that journey to cover. And so I've already kind of made a plan-ish, but I'm also looking out over it because I'm looking for new vision. I'm looking for ways to go big or go home. I'm looking at the bigger picture to see what more I can add to the mix. Inspiration starts with pure potential. And as you guys know, I like to say pure potential is awesome, but it's a nothing burger unless you actually put some action steps towards it. So that pure potential is literally the start, the potential of a start of something. But as we know, the start of something is literally just that. It's going to grow. If we allow it, it's going to expand. And who knows how big it will actually grow and get? Who knows what its full potential can become? And so the 3 of Wands is coming up and coming through for each of us on an individual level to say, all right, I kind of cleaned house in the new moon and kind of evaluated, what needs to stay and what needs to go. I've brought order to chaos in certain areas and aspects of my life. Now I have more space to see the vision and to maybe add some things to that inspired thought, add some things to that vision and that path. So from an individual perspective, there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of evaluation of the possible. And when I say evaluation of the possible, this isn't a high level evaluation of the possible. This is okay, I've committed to this path. So let me kind of throw all structure to the side for now in my mind's eye and play around with scenarios. Our imagination has no ceiling, so using the imagination, if money were no object, what would I be doing with this pure potential thought? How would I be allowing it to grow in my life? If I wasn't in conflict with my family or with a friend, what would I be thinking about right now? What action steps would I be taking right now? What does my heart want to experience in this moment? So it's expanding outside of the limitation that we often place upon ourselves. And then when you've kind of come to the conclusion or the realization, or you've decided, here are the elements that I want to bring into the mix, then there's this, so I've committed to this. There's sort of a plan, but now the plan is formulating a little bit more. Now there's a little more clarity. And I feel like the crystal balls, so crystal balls are used for scrying. It's a psychic technique, a tool in the toolkit to scry. It's all about reflection. What am I seeing in the reflection? And she's using a crystal ball to refract the light. She's using it to focus her intention and to send the light in the areas that she wants it. So we're all in this space during this waxing crescent mode, I want to say, of really being connected I'm sorry, I forgot to turn off my dryer. So there you go. We're going to have this going throughout the reading now. So yay, a little bit of a peaceful chime. So it's an opportunity to really choose your focus. It's not about, sometimes the universe brings our focus to something. That's not what this is. It's not bringing focus specifically to any one area. It's you're choosing that focus. You're choosing where you want to put your energy. All right, now we have our first quarter moon. This is on the 22nd, and the energies are going to last somewhere from the 22nd to the 25th. Well, let's see what we got. Oh, beautiful. So this is one of the cards. Every once in a while you get a tarot card, a tarot deck that adds different cards to the deck. And this one is the unknown card. So when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing this beautiful bird. It doesn't look like a phoenix. It actually looks more like a hawk. And it's darker. And it looks like a statue. It's holding a wand. There's a beautiful candle with some light. She's got another crystal ball in her hands, so doing some scrying. It looks like she's actually, it could be her makeup, but what I'm seeing is a little bit of tears coming through. The moon is in the background, and she's got a little bit of light, and it's primarily purple. So what I'm getting here for us, for this particular period of time, the first quarter, is there is going to be a lot of unknown. And I feel like with this Tower card as our soul card, there are some things that are going to be popping up in the collective that the collective is going to have a hard time stomaching, digesting, and it's going to put us yet again in a space and a place of the unknown. Let me just say, when COVID hit and the realization of what was happening globally came to pass, there was a great deal of fear. Obviously, we know there was a great deal of loss at the beginning of us going through that. We've worked through some of that now, and not to say that it still isn't a consideration. It's different. We've evolved through it. So when we first started out, it was the unknown, and everybody had these ideas in their head that the whole population was going to basically disappear, that we were going to be left with all, those movies that, for years have sort of scared us with this concept of humanity having to start over again. And we're here today. You're watching this today in 2023. So it's 4 years later, from 2020 to 2023. It's 4 years later, we're still standing. And this is not to negate or disrespect the loss. That's not what I'm talking about here. It's the whole point is we were in the unknown, and that unknown has now become known, and we're still standing. So when the unknown card comes up, and I saw tears in her eyes, there is this energy of, when is this going to end? When is it going to stop? And like the frustration, the fear, the pain, the sorrow, the grief. When is it going to end? And this is what she's doing. She's crying, and she's looking into the crystal ball for answers. She's saying, I need to know, because this is so painful. And, I'd like to just kind of have an idea. And I feel like the crystal ball is not going to give her the answers that she needs, because what the crystal ball is going to do is it's going to reflect back to her, what do you think you need to do? What do you feel in your heart is a way that you can contribute? How can you personally start to get to know the unknown? It takes a brave soul to walk this path called life. And there are billions of people on the planet who are brave souls in many ways. And we could say, well, you're not brave when you do this, or you're not brave when you do that. But at the end of the day, when you look at it all, we're all brave souls walking this path. And it's all an unknown adventure. So this card is coming through in the first quarter to say, yeah, there is a lot that's unknown. But remember, so much of what you do on this journey as a co-creator is about the unknown, making the unknown known, making the unknown your friend, or at the very least an ally, so that you can move forward with more confidence, understanding that it's unknown to me now, but in a 3 months or or 6 years or 12 years from now, it's going to be very known, and I'm going to feel more confident with it, or I'm going to have more perspective, awareness, understanding about the role that I'm playing. So this card, I want to say the unknown card, I feel very much is like a card of bravery and giving all of us the opportunity to recognize that we're all in the space of unknown. Nobody knows. So if we don't know and we give ourselves permission to, like the pages in the tarot, if we give ourselves permission to be students, it goes a lot more quickly. We're not resisting what is here to help us to get to know ourselves as divine souls walking this path. And that scrying, that reflection piece is coming through in a big way because the answers are within. That's what our guides are going to be encouraging us to focus on and to connect with during this period of time, is the answers are within you. What do you think about it? How do you feel about it? Our affirmation for this period of time is, I choose to nourish myself and enrich my life. Waxing Crescent 5. So I feel like that's exactly what it is when we are, in the unknown. We do need to nourish ourselves. We do need to make sure that we've got the things that we need. We need to focus on bringing more joy into our life and into our space. This unknown is going to enrich my life in ways that I can only fathom right now. So rather than resisting it, rather than being afraid of it, let's face it head on. Let's look it in the eyes, looking fear in the eyes and saying, I'm ready. Come on, come at me. You can say, we're all co-creators. You can say, all right, I'm ready. Come at me, but come at me gently. Let's partner up. I'm not fully prepared for all that you may or may not provide. But again, that's another lesson in it for all of us, is it doesn't make you less brave to say, I'm a little nervous about this. Can you help me out? Or let me co-create and manifest the way I want this to unfold in terms of how best I can receive what you're giving me. It's not about micromanaging the way you're going to have the thing happen. It's more about the process for you. Guides, spirit, angels. I see that this is going to be good for me and I'm scared to death. Help me through that fear, or give me support so that I am not paralyzed by my fear. You're not negating the experience. You're saying, all right, bring the experience in the way that you know the experience is going to help me best. And then just help me to be able to process that in ways that are a little more comfortable for me to be able to do that. We absolutely have that right. Okay, now we are on our Waxing Gibbous, and this is the 26th to the 28th of September. Oh, beautiful. We've got the Empress card. So lots of abundance this month in this cycle. The Seven of Pentacles is the harvest. We talked about the Three of Wands, that expansion piece. Now we've got the Empress, and the Empress card is abundance, creativity, wealth, that harvest space, sexuality and sensuality. It's very much about being in that co-creative energy. And the Empress often says, listen, we worked hard for this. We're going to maintain it. And there's so much that I'm not going to put my fear and worry into never having enough, because I'm not attached to all of it. I trust implicitly that I'm always going to have the resources that I need. And I understand that the resources that I need are going to shift and change based on the transformational experiences that I'm going through. These are all butterflies that are flitting around her. So it's all about different resources and different stages and phases that those resources can take in our lives helps us along with our soul transformations. So when we're talking about this Waxing Gibbous, 26th to the 28th, I'm feeling like we're still very much in that enjoying the abundance, stepping into that. And even though there are going to be some tough things collectively that we are grappling with, we're also saying, okay, let me take a look at the reality. Let me step back, be an observer in what it is that I'm seeing. And you know what? There again, I'm going back to that idea of the harvest. Even if I don't have this specific resource, I know someone who does. And I'm sure I've got something for them that they could use, that we could strike up a deal, that we could support one another on that path. I'm also feeling like this next 3 days that we're looking at, or 3.5 days, there are going to be issues around, so don't freak out, there are issues around death, but I don't feel like it's like actual physical death of people. It feels more like the death of, we talk about the death of a dream, or we talk about the sort of the death of a particular cycle. And, the harvest is a perfect example of that once we pick, the fruits off of the tree, there are certain aspects of that tree that die off. Certain branches fall off. The leaves start to fall to the ground and the tree becomes a little more barren. Well, it's going into a more dormant state for winter so that it can recharge, regroup, and start the whole process over again when the spring season comes. So feeling very much that there are going to be some issues in this 3.5 to 4 days where we are dealing with things are not what we anticipated, or this isn't going quite the way I had hoped. And it's less about grief and more about, I want to say, acceptance of this needs to go in order for the new to come into the mix. And the Empress knows this. I mean, this is her deepest wisdom, is that everything has a reason and a season. And that's what you're going to be exploring during this particular time, is what is the reason and the season for the things that are going on in my life on an individual level, because you'll be able to see it on the collective level pretty clearly. How is it affecting me on that internal level, or that that personal level that is going on in my life? What is a reason and a season for me at this time? So that's kind of a big thing. Friendships have really been, I want to say, kind of under the strobe light, or the scope, right? The microscope, for a couple of years now. And I feel like we're coming out of that a little bit, but there still is, it's a great analogy for a lot of what this is people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And it doesn't negate the experience that you have, regardless of how long or short the time is that you interact. It's really about the interaction and how that interaction has forever shifted you or changed you. Those are the things we want to focus on, to be grateful for, because there is a reason and a season for all of it. But each and every reason and season serves a strong purpose. We can talk about the seasons. Each season has its own purpose, right? It's really about connecting to what that is for you. That's also going to help to ease the death or the dying off of particular connections that we have, or visions of what is going to transpire. And it's being replaced. It's dying off, but it's dying off because there's something new coming in. And the Empress says you can change it right now. You can fill that space right now. It's not about waiting and mourning and grieving, and it's more about, okay, this is going away because it's time for me to bring this other thing into the mix. So use it as a celebration. Okay, now we are at we're at the full moon already. So September 29th to October 2nd. And you know what? I didn't write down the time of the full moon when it was coming in. So I'll put that in post-edit and put it up on the screen. So we've got Four of Pentacles. So very interesting. We've got primarily Pentacles in this card, and Major Arcana so far. So it's a big month. It's a really big month. Four of Pentacles is a beautiful card because it is about protection. It's about honoring the path, honoring and fortifying the road ahead. Also, when I'm looking at this card, the way the tree is structured, it looks like a big X, and I keep hearing X marks the spot. So what I'm feeling here as I'm looking into this is There are a number of gems and crystals that are kind of all around her. It's definitely treasure. The treasure is lit up so people can see the treasure. But interestingly enough, she is clinging to the tree, and she's clinging to the tree, and she's clinging to these 4 pentacles on the tree. So the feeling that I'm getting here is that she's too close to a situation. She's not recognizing, because she's clinging to the tree, that she can't see that the light is coming through to highlight the treasure that's coming through. She can't see the X marks the spot. It's like not being able to see the forest for the trees. She doesn't recognize that the very thing she's seeking, she's there, but she's so on top of it and so immersed in it that she doesn't recognize that that's what it is. And she's so focused on clinging to these 4 pentacles, desperate to make sure that no one else takes them. But all of these things down here are worth so much more. So I feel like this is a direct message for us during the full moon to take a step back, to not be so attached to people, places, and things, to not be attached to timelines, to not be attached to particular plans, to be more in flow. Because if you are overly attached, you're going to miss out on the very thing that Source is trying to point out to you, that Source is trying to hand to you. And I'm hearing for a lot of us, you've manifested it. This is the harvest. This is the fruit of your labor, but you're so focused on the what I don't have. You're focused on but the process isn't quite perfected yet. You're so immersed in it isn't what I need it to be yet. We got to let go of that. And I feel like there are some really specific people. Obviously, this is sort of a general reading, but I feel like there are a lot of really specific people that this message is going to land with, is take the step back, let go. I talk about you have the butterfly in your hand. Oh, it's so beautiful. And you want to, keep it. You want to put it in the jar because it's so beautiful. And you're like, oh, this, I don't want to lose this. And so you start to close your hands over the butterfly and you end up suffocating the butterfly. You don't mean to crush that beautiful butterfly. You're trying to keep it close, but you suffocate it because you're holding on so tightly. Whereas if you keep your hand open, if that butterfly flies away and flies free, it was never yours to begin with. But maybe it's going to fly off and do its thing and come back to you, and you can develop a relationship with it, right? It's that same concept. Sometimes when we get too attached, we hang on too tightly. We lose ourselves and we lose the very thing that we love so much in the process. So the full moon is going to help each and every one of us to recognize where we need to take a step back and to see exactly what's in front of us, because what's in front of us is what we're looking for, but we're too close to it. From a collective perspective, I feel this also really ties into the tower, that, the tower came up and came through to I call it the universal frying pan to the head, where we get these little breadcrumbs along the way and we're like, yeah, okay, I see that sign, or I hear what you're saying, but I don't want to. Or I'm not too sure if that's really what you mean. Is that my ego voice? Is it really intuitive guidance? So you wait for the next crumb and the next crumb, the next crumb. And eventually you're so far off course that your guides are like, doing, you have to go here. Course correct. Because you're so far off course that you're not on your soul path. You're losing your way. So let's help you out. The 4 of Pentacles is saying you don't have to get to that point. It doesn't have to be that way. You're heading for another tower. We don't want you to head for another tower. We want you to feel safe and secure. There's a lot of stability in the 4 of Pentacles, but stability comes from freedom, not from control. All right, so, this is full moon, so I got to pull an affirmation. Oh, this one looks really cool. I teach people how to treat me. Ooh, Waning Gibbous. Really important. I teach people how to treat me. So this is actually ties in really well with what I was saying with this. If you hold on too tightly, you're letting somebody know that you're fearful, or you might hold them back because they're like, well, I don't want to hurt you, so I'm not going to say the truth, or I don't want to hurt you, so I'm not going to tell you what's really going on, and you're going to find out later. And it doesn't foster an energy of trust. So teach people how to treat you. How do you wish to be respected? How do you want to treat others? Right? You want to be treated the way you want to be treated. You want to be treated the way you treat others. And if you treat others in a way that you don't want to be treated, this is a clear message for you as well, to say, I need to let go of some control. Because the control, quite frankly, is an illusion. It really is. The only thing that we have control over is our choices. That's it. Okay. Waning Gibbous, October 3rd to the 5th. Somewhere in and around. Okay, we got 2 cards for this one. Interesting. The first one, oh, beautiful. 3 of Cups. So, and I believe we had 3 of Wands as well, and they're diagonal to one another. So that's significant in the spread as well. So, 3s, creation, collaboration. This is a celebration. It's also a meeting of the minds and the hearts. It's an opportunity for a gab fest with your friends. Doesn't matter the gender. It's an opportunity to really connect about things so it's like having a deep conversation without it necessarily needing to be super deep and lead to anything. It's more about camaraderie with one another. It's about connection for the sake of connecting. I feel a lot of laughter when I'm looking at this card. I feel a lot of joy. And it's celebration for the sake of celebrating, not necessarily because there's a specific celebration. Although, we are in that harvest energy, there is a lot to celebrate when we have the abundance, and it's sharing in that abundance, sharing in it with friends, sharing in it with family, sharing in it with coworkers, with neighbors, being more out and about in the world. I feel like that's something really important that's coming up in our Waning Gibbous. I always want to make sure that I'm saying the right thing. I'm really drawn in this card that's showing a lot of the lotus, and I'm drawn to the female that's in the center. She's got this beautiful blue dress with sort of a train that's going into the water, and I'm drawn to the blue with the flowers, and I feel like I'm drawn to the blue with the flowers because I'm seeing a lot of like Ascended Master energy, sort of that Mother Mary energy, which is about the compassion and the love and the gentility. Not everything needs to be forceful. Not everything needs to be driven or like actionably purposeful. It can be, again, gentle and peaceful and calm and inviting and relaxing. So this is the energy that you want to bring into this particular period of time, is more celebration, less focus on the to-do list and the drive, and more attention paid to joy and peace. Not even reflection and planning. We don't want that. We want a little more celebration, connection with others. And the second card that came up with this is the 5 of Swords. Makes so much sense. This helps you to stay out of this. This is worry. This is unnecessary worry. This is focus more on the what isn't there rather than what is. And we've talked a lot about that in this spread. We've talked a great deal about that. It's focusing on what you are grateful for, what you have to be grateful for. It's focusing on that so that you then know when you're connecting with others who are in the sauce, the same as you, but maybe in a different capacity, how can you help them and how can they help you? And I'm really drawn to the way the picture is done. It's almost like they're creating a bit of a circle, a little bit of a vortex or a portal that they're able to walk through. And that's exactly what I see here. This particular window gives you the opportunity to go into a portal of joy. What are we all here for? We're here to experience more joy in our lives. It doesn't always have to be like we're walking through molasses, even though that's what it feels like. And it's still going to feel that way. But you can choose to say, all right, I recognize that is It is what it is. And I'm going to choose to add more celebration to the path. I'm going to choose not to worry, because the worry is all around me. But when I look straight ahead at where I'm going and growing, this is what I'm creating. It's joy. It's pink. It's unconditional love. It's love of self. It's focus on self in amongst a supportive system, supportive energies and people. Birds are representative of source, angels, higher frequency. So that's where you're going and growing, and you're a part of it. Her train begins the cycle, and it's coming full circle. Really interesting. Okay, so now we are at our third quarter moon. This is happening on October 6th through to about the 9th. Another pentacle, folks. Two of Pentacles. So Two of Pentacles typically is resource, balance, feeling a bit topsy-turvy. I'm hearing some dizziness and headaches for some people. I'm feeling that there's a bit of an energetic shift in the collective. So you might be feeling some funky stuff on a physical level. Not so much fatigue as much as just feeling a little off or a little dizzy, or your head spins a little bit, or those of you who have blood pressure issues already, this might be a time where you're like, I don't know what's going on. Do I need to readjust my medication? Maybe I need to drink a little more water moving forward, paying attention to the food that I'm eating. I feel like there's going to be some physical symptoms, effects that we're all being affected by. We're all going to experience it to a certain degree. No, there's nothing wrong with you. It is definitely connected to the shift in the energy. There needs to be a rebalancing. And we're also shifting out of that sort of harvest energy and putting plans forward for how we're going to create the new. Remember the unknown card. This is what we are actually stepping into and creating at this time. So now we're bringing that more into focus at this time. And the Two of Pentacles is coming through to help us with that. And balance is not 50-50 always. And balance changes from day to day. So give yourself permission to be, a little bit in flow with that this particular time. Lots of green coming up in this card. She's got green tendrils sort of coming off of her dress, her costuming. She's also a ballerina. She's got little ballet shoes on there. So I feel like it's also talking about the dance of life, the delicate dance of life, and giving yourself permission to understand that sometimes grace and elegance really takes a lot of work. Takes a lot of effort, but it's the right kind of work and the right kind of effort. So you're learning where you want to put your energy, where you want to put your focus and your investment into at this time. So that is our, what was that? That's our third quarter. Okay, so I do have to pull an affirmation. So let's see what our affirmation is for this. I know my shadow side and I work to willingly transform aspects of it. Sorry, here's the picture. I know my shadow side and I work to willingly transform aspects of it. Moon Goddess Hecate. So when we're talking about that balance and that shifting that is occurring, it's also understanding that, I have that light and that dark within me. And this whole cycle, this whole new moon cycle has been here to show the light. And obviously we live in a world of duality. So when you are seeing the light and you are being given the light of truth and seeing the truth of where things are at, there's going to be an opposite aspect of that. And it's not something that you need to fear. And it's funny that this card is being pulled opposite to the unknown card where we talked about the fear. It's not something to fear. It's simply saying, okay, I was afraid of that unknown card, and now I'm seeing exactly what I need to see. And I work willingly to transform aspects of that shadow side. Again, I'm the ballerina that maybe I make it look easy, But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy. It means it's more intentional. I'm using specific muscles and putting my focus and intention to specific muscles, specific moves that help to keep me aligned with where I'm going and growing. I'm not using the entire body, or I'm not using my focus for too many scattered things, bringing too many things into the mix. I'm sort of streamlining that, and that allows me to incorporate the shadow side. And again, that dizziness, that being off balance, on the physical level, I feel that we're all in a space of integration, and that integration is can be a bit disconcerting, but it's there for us. It's happening for you. All right, Waning Crescent, October 10th through the 13th. The card just flew right out there. Let's see what we got. Oh, beautiful. 10 of Cups. What a great way to wrap up this new moon cycle. The 10 of Cups, it's that ideal that we hold for ourselves. It is the vision, and it's the arrival at the vision. It's also new beginnings based on an already established foundation. I've arrived at a particular level, and so because I'm at this level, now I'm able to really sink my teeth into, the places we'll go, that next level. We're doing it together. I keep seeing the 3 of Cups, that celebration. We are celebrating and we're doing things together. You're not alone. I feel like that's a big message for a few of us that need to hear that. You're not alone in this. And while this card sort of represents a more traditional, conventional family, this is not always the ideal for everybody. It's really, if you think about it, it's just the ideal outcome of a situation and how you feel about it. And we've got these beautiful lotuses that are floating around in the water. The waters are calm. And what do we know about lotuses? Lotuses grow out of the muck. They grow out of the molasses that is the energy that we are in right now. And they're coming up, and through that, they're lightening up the energy. And that's exactly what I feel is happening during this 10th to the 13th in October. Is there's going to be a lightness. It's almost like anything that was really heavy or pressing upon you or overwhelming, or you didn't know how it was all going to turn out. There are going to be aha moments. There are going to be moments where emotionally you do feel lighter. And who doesn't want more of that? I also feel like it's important at this particular time, as we're going to be sort of getting prepared for the new moon energy, to let go of things that cause you a lot of worry, cause you a lot of stress, in an unnecessary way. This is going to look different for different people, but it's an encouragement to really focus on the I am okay. Everything's all right, kind of like the Empress. I've got my needs met. So, and those needs are going to shift and change, and those needs what I think I need to cover those needs might look different than what the universe says, but here's really what you need. Or you're going to learn that you don't need that, but you need this over here instead. So it's being open to the flow of the vision coming into your space, and understanding that your emotions are there as part of the experience, but not necessarily as the driving force. Emotions are not the fuel at this time. The vision is the fuel. The passion is the fuel. The source energy coursing through your veins is the fuel, that motivation. Emotions are part of the experience, but not fuel. So don't use your emotions mistaking that use of those emotions for being something that you need to keep generating more of. The analogy I'm getting in my head is, sure, we have emotions, use the anger to motivate you to the next spot, but don't be that person that continuously feels like they have to generate anger and anger and anger in order to do things. It needs to be part of the process, but not actually the fuel, because then you're just building up a lot of anger all the time. You're living in that angry space and that angry state. This has nothing to do with anger. This has to do with success. It has to do with joy. It has to do with I got to the vision, and the vision has brought me to another vision that I'm so excited to explore, because now I'm even more equipped to be able to do it and to get there. All right, guys, that is our new moon musings for September 14th. Always, always, always sending you guys so much love. I used a really cool tarot deck today and just want to kind of drop a line with you guys. You've been seeing it in my social media all over the place, so I'm going to tell you about it again. I'm getting ready to release my membership, Tarot Intuitively. It's going live, available to join October 1st. If you're interested in kind of getting a little bit of a sneak peek of it, I am doing starting on the 25th of September, so just a few days away, a really cool wine and tarot event, a series of events. It's a 5-day event. Where we talk a little bit of tarot, we get to know tarot through the eyes of the phoenix, and we pair a wine with each of our featured cards. We're featuring one card for each event. It's going to be about 30 to 45 minutes or so, and it's a really unique way to connect with the cards. If you've ever been curious about tarot, if you're a person who wants to learn how to read tarot for yourself, if you're a person who watches a lot of this stuff on YouTube and wishes that you could do it for yourself, come join in the fun. And by the way, if you're not a winette like me, don't worry. There's so much information that you can learn. It's just sort of a fun little aspect. You know, what do I love the most in my life aside from my animals? I love wine, I love tarot, I love talking about tarot, and I'm throwing in the phoenix in there for great effect because it's always about how we're transforming and evolving on this wild ride called life. So it's just a great opportunity to come on in and, you know, shoot the shit a little bit, learn some really powerful tools to help you using the tool of tarot. So we'd love to see you there. It's going to be live 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and on Facebook. I have my fabulous Keone going to produce as well, so you're going to be able to interact with me live and put, you know, fun things in the comments. So come and join, you know, take a load off and check it out. And it's a little taste, yuck, yuck, yuck. It's a little tasting of what you will get as part of the Tarot Intuitively membership, because the big live event in that membership is a 3 of Cups gathering. And it's interesting that we got the 3 of Cups today. So it's a 3 of Cups gathering, wine and tarot. And again, you don't need to know wine or be a lover of wine. Bring your own beverage and come and join in the fun. Would love to see you there. Take care, guys. Have the most amazing month. We'll see you next time. Ciao.